All right. 3, 2, 1. That was a good one. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Side Tangent. That was a little ecstatic. I was trying something new there. Let me know down in the comments if you think that was a good intro. We're workshopping them. What's up? It's your boy Jared.
I am Parker. Have a story for you if we can start off with the continuing saga of poor choices Parker has made.
Yes, please.
So
this is the thing that's keeping the show running.
So there I was with a bicycle, but with no brakes.
When was this?
A while ago.
How soon?
Like years ago.
Okay. When was this? Were you an adult?
Yeah, I wasn't an adult. Okay.
Gosh, okay.
I would have legally been defined as an adult. But I had a bicycle with no brakes. So if you were in that situation, what would you do if you had a bicycle? Bail. That's a good idea. Not get a new bicycle.
Oh, wait. So sorry. So if I had one, I thought you meant if I was on the bike already.
No. I mean, like in general, if you only had a bicycle. I just
ride a bike. I'm too old to ride bikes.
Right. Okay. That's not what I did.
Okay.
I didn't even do what you did where I just bail off. I would just drive. I'd just be pedaling on my bike. And let's say I was going down the hill and there was a busy intersection. What would I do? I would look and see a telephone pole or a power pole. Run into it every time. It's that or run into a car.
I mean,
I did that for months.
I don't know what. First of all, why did you have a bike with no brakes?
Because it was free, and I didn't have money.
I would have walked. I know what the situation was. Bikes are faster, but I'm like, just walk. What's the rush? What's the rush? Just walk. Enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. On my mission, I couldn't. I've never had a gear shift bike before, because the only bikes I have were kids and they're just one gear. But some of my companions, they would ride, I'm like, we're going uphill, especially, you have to shift your gear down or whatever. And I'm like, how are you bolting it? I have the same exact setting as you do. And I'm like, I don't get it. That's why I don't know how to drive stick shift either.
I can't drive a stick. My brother has tried to teach me how to drive a
Your younger brother?
My youngest brother.
He's so much cooler than you.
I know.
So is mine. So are my siblings.
That's the curse we bear as the older brothers.
Yeah,
we show them what not to do.
Yeah, let's start a podcast. I just want to jump into another segment of things that I have a heart. 1 second, I messed up the title. Brady, can you cut this out? Thank you. These are things that I think about a lot, but I have a hard time explaining. But I have a caveat today. Lately we're not blowing up by any means. We have a couple hundred people that look at our shorts every time I post it, which is really nice. Thank you to anyone who's watching this that's been with us here at the beginning. We're hoping that the number will grow one day, but for those of you who are watching now, we're here for you. I've been getting a lot of comments, though. Ever since we started this segment in particular, of people thinking that I smoke weed. And one comment in particular, this guy accused me. He's like, hey, you don't have to drink the bong water, the water that's inside the bong. And I have to explain to everyone, these are all sober thoughts. Me and Parker have never smoked before. And it's made me wonder what would happen if we did. So I have here. No, I'm kidding. So Emily, my wife, came up with a good idea. So for today's segment, instead of calling it things that I think about a lot, but have a hard time explaining why, we're going to call it Drinking from the Bong Water with Jared. That's today's segment. That's what we're calling it today.
I thought you were going to call it Sobering Thoughts.
That's another good idea. Brady, okay. I'm going to start over.
No, because you're what? We'll put that in for next.
No. This is what we'll do. I'm going to say it again. I'm not going to go all the way back. And then I'm going to say, instead of saying Drinking from the Bong Water with Jared, I'm going to say Sobering Thoughts with Jared. And then we'll use both and we'll workshop it, focus group it, see what the people think. Bring back the data, reevaluate, and then we'll proceed forward. Okay? Business students. All right. So instead of calling it things I think about a lot, but I have a hard time explaining why, we're going to call it Sobering Thoughts with Jared. And then Brady's going to put it right here. I keep saying the editors are going to put it right here. Has never done it. They have never done it. Anyways, this isn't like a deep philosophical thing that I think about a lot.
Whenever you preface it like that, that instantly makes me 100 times more concerned.
I think that's fair for
Because
this
what
one in
you
particular.
say is not like, it's not a deep thing. It's usually going to be far more upsetting.
It's not like
to
something
me.
that I don't think it's thought provoking. I think it's more. It might make you more concerned for me. So there's two scenarios where this happens for me.
Okay.
Every time I'm crossing the street, or if I'm on the road in general, I have this thought that comes to my mind. I'm like, I need to get across the street as fast as I can, because what if the Flash is running right now, or a car, or something equivalent to the Flash?
Well, a car would make. Well, even a car wouldn't make sense because you can see, right? Are you not looking both ways?
No, I am. But that's what I'm saying. What if it's like like that fast? And I'm like, I need to get there fast just in case the Flash is just instantaneously like on his way to fight crime.
Isn't that like the first episode of The Boys?
Yeah. That's not where I got this from. I thought this ever since I was a kid. Like, I gotta go. But like another scenario where this happens is not quite the Flash.
Wait, the car wasn't the other scenario?
No.
Okay.
It's something fast. Something fast if I don't cross the street in time. I hope I don't, like, anyone who's watching this or listening to this, I hope, like, next time you cross the street, you don't think about this like I've been thinking about it. But, like,
a mind virus.
Yeah, I hope I don't infect you with my mind virus. Hope you don't drink from the bong water, if you will. Hope you don't have a sober thought like I do.
Okay.
Okay, I'll stop doing that. I'm sorry. The second thing is, at my house back in Arizona, the stairs leading up to the second floor was kind of, you could see the front door from it. There was like a window next to the front door. I always thought if I didn't get up the stairs fast enough, a creature's going to look through the window, and if it sees me, it's going to get me. So I run up the stairs a lot to this day.
I think your first thought of looking both ways for the Flash, no, that would make sense, of trying to cross the street as quickly as possible in case the Flash comes by, little silly. Trying to escape the dark entity downstairs, very real.
Yes.
Very understandable.
Yes. But like from a kid, like to this day, I run up the stairs. Not necessarily, it's like 50% that, 50% because in my mind, running up the stairs means I'm upstairs faster, because going upstairs sucks.
Are you of the school of thought of like running like, I guess, the Flash, just a normal human, or do you do like all fours to go up the stairs more efficiently?
It depends on if I'm in public or not.
Okay.
JT, we're in a basement right now. We've lived here for a week. I girl crawl up those stairs most of the time, and upstairs to our bedroom. I don't know what's. Yeah, there's
no, your shoe. You should move your shoe forward. There we go.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Parker is a little baby. He can't handle things. But yeah, no, I don't know if that's like if there's like a therapist who's watching this or something, if there's or a psychologist or something.
No, that's got to be like deep-rooted human though.
Maybe. I'm one of the few people that's saying this out loud? I don't know. Like,
no, I've heard that from other people. I feel like everyone.
The Flash thing too?
No, the Flash. That's not right. Because what gets me is that what I love is that you're not saying like, I want to like cross the street as effectively as possible because I know that there might be a car. It's specifically for a mental human.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, or something that moves as fast as that. Especially if the road's empty, I'm like, well, like anything could be flying down the road right now. So I got to get over there fast enough. As if the sidewalk is the safe place to be. And also assuming the Flash runs on the road.
You know how, like, I don't know if you get this, but like middle of the night, I feel like I did this more when I was in high school and stuff. Middle of the night, you're just walking the streets because, you know, you're angsty. You're listening to Green Day. And like all the streets are empty. And it like kind of has like an eerie feeling at times.
Yeah.
That might also, but like, so in Wyoming, because like, you know, bright road lamps, I don't know what to call them, street lights. Like if they're just normal bulbs, that would mess up like the day-night cycle for animals, and there's a lot of them there. So they use these like deep red bulbs.
Okay.
So it's already like an unsettling time of night. But if you're walking in the middle of the night, it's literally just like it's like a street in the middle of the forest, nothing around it, and just these deep red lights on it.
Nope. That sucks.
I know.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's kind of cool, but whenever I was walking along, like because there was a trail that we would take when we lived in Wyoming, to just basically go between like the store and where we lived.
Okay.
Trail in the middle of the woods that I'd seen bears on before, and just blood red lights. It's like, I'm gonna die. There's gonna be a cultist out there.
It's funny how, like, for most people, like, death scares us, and there are moments like that where you're kind of like random times where you just accept death.
Yeah.
For example, when I cross the street, there are moments when I'm like, if the Flash comes and hits me, I'm accepted that fate. I'm not even trying to be funny. I dead serious think about that.
I wanted to ask what's the closest you've come to death, but has there ever been a moment where you're like, I might die?
Yes, actually. You know, it's funny you say that, because while you're talking, I was like, oh, I don't know why this reminds me of like.
Oh, so you weren't listening to what I was saying. You were queuing up the next
something
thing.
About a red light and a bear. Something about, hey, it's Parker. I haven't listened to this. No. It was just, it came to my mind when you're talking about just like being in nature and then and almost dying. So I think it was after my senior year of high school, me and my friends.
Great way to start a story, I think, is that time period.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. Anything could happen.
Yeah, well, Arizona has a lot of cool hikes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so is here Utah. It's west side, west coast. Anyways, there's this, I can't remember the name of the trail, but instead of hiking up a mountain, it's like goes down into a ravine.
Oh,
so it's about, round trip is about 9 miles, but at the bottom there's like a river, and then or places where you can go cliff jumping. But it's hard to explain. Maybe I'll find a picture of it and put it on the video. So there's like water, the river, and there's like a waterfall, and then in this waterfall it gets pretty deep. So that's where people cliff jump, is off the waterfall or around the sides. But the waterfall kind of splits off, and then it forms like kind of like a rock slide down into like a whirlpool that has like this bowl. And there's a sign that says "Don't go in the whirlpool." But there's like a rope that, in case people do get in. So there's two ways to get in and out of the whirlpool. There's the rope, you can go from the top into it, or the rock bowl that like nature has created. Mm-hmm. There's also a hole under the bottom, like on the bottom underwater, that you can like swim underneath to get into the whirlpool.
So, oh my gosh, that sounds terrifying. So you could like swim in an underwater tunnel to like emerge in a whirlpool?
It's more like a hole. It's not a tunnel.
Okay.
It's like, I mean, I guess a tunnel is essentially a big hole, but
sure, but it's not like
So
narrow.
I was like, I'm not going into the whirlpool. But
a smart thing.
A few of my friends jumped in, and I mean, it's spinning constantly, and there's the rope, and so people like were, it took them a while to get up, because you have to use you have to pull yourself out, and it's a kind of a steep thing. And one of my friends got sick going through the whirlpool, and so because he got dizzy,
like nauseous.
Yeah, and so when he got out of the whirlpool, and he got out, and he was sitting there for like most of the time while we were all cliff jumping, and being the good Samaritan that I thought I was. By the way, I messed up. This was after my junior year, going into my senior year.
Even better.
Anyways, not important. Brady, cut that out. So I was like, you know what? I think I should give him some water. Look, I'm not going through the whirlpool. I'm not going to climb up the rope. And so I tried to go above the waterfall and climb around. And so as I was climbing around with the water bottle in hand, I slipped, and then I fell down the rock slide, which was fun if I wasn't like scared. So I was going down the rock slide. I landed in the whirlpool, and then I started panicking immediately. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I need to go through that hole first, because the rope was on the other side, because they picked it up. And I went in, but the water, like, so I went in where the hole was, but since it's moving, I didn't aim right, and so I just dove straight into the wall with my head.
Oh my gosh!
I didn't bleed or anything. I was scraped up all over my leg.
You're already disoriented.
Yeah, and I was freaking out. I started yelling the dude's name. I'll say his name's Kevin. Kevin, and he was sick. And so he, imagine just like being fear for your life, and this guy just pokes his head up, like he like slowly looks over, and then I'm like, throw the rope. And so he gently tosses the rope over. And I've never been an exceptionally strong person. I've never done more than 5 pull-ups at a time. And that, like, especially at that point in my life, I pulled myself out of that faster than anyone did. And then everyone was standing on the other side like, where were you? And I'm like, I was in the whirlpool. My friends didn't stop laughing for like 3 minutes. I'm like, I almost died. And yeah, that sounds
terrifying.
Yeah. That was legit the closest. I thought I was gonna die because everyone else was out cliff jumping. So if I yell, the only person that could hear me was the guy that was sick. Luckily he did, but yeah, it was terrifying. Same trip, we were on our way up. Before I should back up. On our way down, one of my friends decided to eat a cup of noodles. Like he just had I don't know how he heated it up, but he had a cup of noodles. He was eating it, and then it's Arizona in the summertime, and so we're hot and we're cliff jumping all day. On the way back up, and that's the hard part all the time because you go down at the beginning, you have to go back up, and you're already tired. We're like a mile away, and the dude that ate the cup of noodles just almost passed out. He like fell down. And he like almost fainted because of dehydration.
No, dude.
His own fault, just like it was my own fault to fall to the waterfall. And then one dude started getting, he's like, Jared, get to the other side. And he's like, you're the strongest one here. I'm like, no, I'm not. I definitely was not the strongest one there. And so me having almost died myself had to like hold this dude with another dude another mile up the hill. And so we had 2 near-death experiences in the same trip. And you want to know what we talk about the most? How my friend Sky, he watches this, he suggested we should eat this pizza place, and he was insistent on it. Disgusting pizza. And that people we talked about that to this day, how nasty that pizza was, and 2 of us almost died. And we was like, I would have rather died than eat another bite of this freaking pizza. But no, it was a fun trip overall.
I love that.
It was a good memory. It's a good memory because I lived.
True, because it wouldn't have been a memory if you died.
Yeah.
I guess it's
put that on a plaque and frame it. Yeah. Have you had any near-death experiences? Besides the bears. We're sick of the bears. Okay.
I've had a few. Have I talked about the lightning incident on this podcast? I can't remember.
Like when you were camping?
Yeah.
No, not on this podcast.
Not on this podcast.
Yes. To me, your friend, yes.
Well, I would hope so. Okay.
Off camera.
So
in bed. What? Continue.
Oh, so okay. So we'll just say it was like a survival camp out. I was learning how to survive. And the specific place where we were camping was it's just this part of Utah that I hate. It's just desert, but not pretty desert. It's just flat desert. Southern Utah, yeah. Okay. And a Boy Scout had actually passed away a week before from lightning.
Oh my gosh.
So it was already like, it had already happened. But one of the nights, there was a few like days during my time there where there's an island in the middle of this lake. They canoe us out to the island and basically just let us fend for ourselves for a while.
What is wrong with scouts, man? That's so stupid.
No, it wasn't like they were close enough, and like we had training. Like my group and I, we literally just dug for like wild onions the whole time.
Did you find any?
Yeah, we found a lot. There was a lot of them. I don't think we got any.
It's like holes.
It was like holes. We didn't get any. Well, they're small. They're more like garlic, wild garlic, I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure our breath was terrible.
So wait, did they not give you food?
Not for the island bit.
How long did they leave you out there?
It was like, well, it would have been a few days. It's not going to be a few days, and we'll get to why. But like,
they were going to leave you on the island with no food.
Yeah,
for a couple days.
Well, we would have fished and stuff. They taught us how to like do everything, and they would have.
What if you didn't?
Well, they would check up on us like every day. So like if we were actually starving and hadn't gotten any food, they would probably just shipped us off.
Okay,
but
I have some beef with Boy Scouts after this. Okay, so
I don't even. This might not have been connected to Boy Scouts.
So you guys just did this?
No, it was like a scout thing, but it wasn't like a whatever. You're getting into semantics.
Sorry.
So, flat lake, island in the middle of it. That's just a giant hill. Lord of the Flies situation going on. Lightning storms. There have been a lot of lightning storms. My group and I built a shelter like on the top of the hill because we're like, if it rains, then like the water will, like we won't be caught in like waterfall, I guess. So we'll be fine. Let's go to the highest point of this. Middle of the night, we get hit by just a huge lightning strike. No, excuse me. I'm jumping again. A huge lightning storm. It's just raining, lightning is striking and getting closer. We had basically like an adult assigned to each group, and we see our guy just like booking it up the hill, like, get on the canoes, we're getting out of here. And so we were like trying to like take, because they had given us tarps and stuff. We're trying to get the stuff, and he's like, leave it, run. And then at that moment, I kid you not, like no separation between sound and light. Lightning strikes start hitting around us.
No
like
way.
Like I can't hear or see anything. We're basically just rolling down the hill, freaking out.
Dude,
terrifying.
Oh my gosh, dude,
terrified. To this day, and a separate story. I'd almost been struck by lightning the week before too, in a different thing, but that was in Wyoming, not in Utah. But so we rode down the hill. We get in the canoes and go back to shore. And it just so happens that there was a fancier, better scout camp next to us. And they're like, well, if you want, you can spend the night in our kitchen. So all of us, the entire scout camp, we slept in their kitchen. It was like a giant kitchen, like to, I assume, feet.
Dude, it's like the third Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie when like the nicer Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For years, I had like an irrational fear of lightning because of that.
It like I'm just imagining like that flash coming out of nowhere, almost as if I was crossing a road and a flash could come out of nowhere. So it sounds like it's not too far-fetched to think that something could come out of nowhere, Parker, right? Right?
So what you need to do is, now when you're crossing the street, you need to do as quickly as possible, and then look left, right, and then up for lightning.
And then down.
If something's going that fast, isn't there nothing you can do?
Correct. But
so I think you should just accept it. Go slower.
Go slower. Be like, hit me. One time we were like, we had a green light, and this guy just started crossing the street, and then cars started honking at him. He just flipped them all off and kept walking.
I love that.
And I'm like, geez, dude, I want to be mad, but like, what would I do? Like, someone who does not care that much, there's nothing you can do. You just have, you've lost at that point.
They have complete mastery over self.
Yeah, I could never do that. I could never have that much. Like, I care too much about what people think. I've gotten better over life. Like, I'm more confident in myself. I'm more secure with myself. There's still a part of me that cares enough that I could never do that.
I talk myself out of doing things based off people that don't exist.
Like the Flash. Okay.
But, no, people that I make up in my head.
What do you mean?
Like, I'll be like, should I do this? I'm like, but what if there's someone there that will think this certain thing, and I have an entire conversation in my head of what they would do, and then I don't do that thing.
See, it's not, the Flash thing is not that far-fetched, dude. It's not too far off of what you just said right now.
But there's a difference between like.
At least the Flash is like a thought-out thing that has a lore, that has like a personality. You made up someone on the spot,
but there's
and are scared of them.
But first off, they're based off other people. Like, there's nothing you can do for the Flash. Like, statistically, walking faster across the street isn't going to make a difference. What if he's walking on the sidewalk?
I know.
You shouldn't just be afraid of the Flash when you're crossing the street. You need to be afraid of the Flash 24/7.
Correct.
I don't think in The Boys she was killed. Spoilers.
Isn't that the first episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, probably fine. I assume they were just standing like on a sidewalk.
I don't know. I actually haven't seen that scene. I just know about it. But I have some beef with the Boy Scouts, by the way, and like camping and stuff in general.
Okay.
Boy Scouts in general. So we did Scouts.
Yeah.
Like growing up and stuff. You're an Eagle Scout, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Definitely.
Besides the point. Actually, that is a part of my beef with the Boy Scouts. Story number one. First of all, I just think it's just like what are we doing? Like, what are we actually doing? How many times were you told like you could put Eagle Scout on your resume? It's gonna look good on your resume.
I don't think I was ever told that.
Are you serious? That was like the biggest thing they told me growing up, is that like, you know, jobs are gonna be like knocking down my door to come get me and like hire me like to be CEO of their company because I had freaking Eagle Scout on my resume. False. I think if anyone saw Eagle Scout on my resume, they'd be like, this guy sucks. He's a nerd. Anyways, so I just think the whole thing, I'm glad it's, you know, is it still a thing? It's gone out of business, right? It should have been. It should be.
No, it's like they've just changed how they run things, but
okay.
Like I think it's just called Scouts now, and it's like boys and girls. They got rid of the uniform.
That's bullcrap.
I thought
the uniform was stupid.
Oh well, I thought it looked kind of cool.
Okay, you with all your badges.
Love me, man.
Russell from Up. Okay.
I did look like Russell from Up, according to your.
Yeah, you're Russell from Up.
Yeah.
Shout out Uncle Jeremy for saying Parker's Russell. That's essentially what we've come down to. Does that make me Mr. I'm gonna go back to my story because I just started that.
So you don't like
I don't like Scouts for a lot of reasons.
So it's the Eagle Scout because it's nothing you've used on your resume.
Yeah, but I'm not an Eagle Scout. But so there's a thing called Advancement Day where I'm from. I know they call it something. It was a Saturday, a random Saturday one time when a bunch of different scouts from across the area come in, and then they have different classes, and then you kind of knock out a merit badge in that one day. So it's called other things. I don't
only
know
one merit. What were you trying to do? Like 8 at once?
Well, I only went to one Advancement Day, maybe.
Okay.
But I was in a class that it took me all day. It was called Citizenship of the World.
Oh, those ones suck.
Yeah, that's lame. And honestly, that's the one I think makes the most sense in theory, like long term.
Just learn about the world.
But the dudes that were teaching it were just like, I think they were history teachers or something. I don't know what they were outside of it. They're just normal dudes that like do scouts on the side. They don't get paid to do this, and they were volunteering. They had everyone go around. It's like 50 people. They say, tell me about, like, say your name and what your last name and where it's from. And my last name is Reed. I don't think I'm giving away much. It's on my Instagram. I tag it all the time. My last name's Reed, but I'm Polynesian and Mexican, and I'm 12 at the time. And so it gets to me, and I'm like, oh, my last name's Reed, and it's from Samoa. And they're like, your family's probably from Samoa, but your name's probably from Ireland or England or something. And I'm like, oh, cool, dude. Yeah, you just way to rub that into my face. Way to flex on me like that.
Why would you say that?
I know. I'm like, okay, are you proud of yourself? I was like, congrats, you just told me where my last name's from. I just like, he's like, your family's probably from there, but
why would you?
I'm like, the whole class, the rest of the class, I was like, freak this guy, man.
Well, also like how many of these kids actually know where it's from? Like, how many of them are just guessing?
I don't know, but there was a couple times when people were like, I think it's more from this, and I'm like,
oh, so they were correcting like everyone,
but it was mostly, it wasn't everyone. It was just like there was a couple people that were like, oh yeah, I feel like that could be like Scottish or something or European.
But they don't know that.
They don't.
They're just using.
They were right, by the way. My last name is from like that part of Europe.
I know, but they didn't need to say that.
They didn't say. I'm 12. I'm like, okay, you just flexed on a 12-year-old.
But yeah, okay.
They're like, I'm like, you're a real like sunshine and parties, aren't you? Real blast. Anyways, another reason why I don't like Boy Scouts is one, I said I didn't have an Eagle Scout. I was like this close, like I was like the next, whatever's right below the Eagle Scout. So someone came up to me and they were like, hey, by the way, you can get your Eagle Scout soon. I'm like, there's no way, because I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything for it. I went to scout camp, which is, for those who don't know, it's a week-long camp with a bunch of different scouts from wherever, and then like you do a bunch of merit badges throughout the week. It sucks. I hate it. I hated it. I went to one. We did a class called Wilderness Survival, which I think is what the epitome, like that's what people think of when they think of scouts, is like being able to survive in the wilderness. And there was actually some cool things that I learned, like how to start a fire with wool and a battery. Building fire was the most thing, but a big requirement for wilderness survival is one, you had to make a lean-to, like a tent, like a shelter.
Yeah.
And you had to sleep in it one night. I think that's a common thing in scouts that everyone has to do. I didn't do that. I got up to the last day and they were checking off everything. Like, did you sleep in a lean-to? I said no. They signed me off. I'm like, did you build your own fire? I'm like, no. They signed me off. I didn't do any of it. Same scout camp. We went to, I had the medical first aid class, and also they were like, build a first aid kit, which is, that's another one. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense why we're doing this. Build a first aid kit. I show up. Did you build a first aid kit? No. They passed me off. I got all 4 merit badges that week, and I didn't do anything.
I love how honest you were, and they're just like, no.
I have like a guilty conscience. Like, I don't like lying. It makes me feel weird, and it's like, unless it's like a game, but like especially as a kid, I had a really bad guilty conscience. Like, it ate at me, and I felt like, I don't know, maybe giving anxiety or something. Oh, now that I'm older, I'm reflecting back. I think I was just scared of everything. Like,
now it wasn't you lie all the time.
It wasn't. Yeah, I told you that was a cool shirt. It's not. I bet it's actually a cool shirt. Show the camera. It says "Yip Yip" from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I feel like I had another story, but I don't know. I just think like some of the things, like they were really. We had to do a night where we had to like make sure you're in your full uniform, and like this guy came in, he was like upset because we were up at, like, we were hiking, we came back, we just quickly threw everything on, and he was just like, you guys don't pass. And I just thought, like, some people just take it too seriously. I'm like, what is this for? What are we doing? I know this is a cool, like, it's cool that we do this, but like one of the merit badges too was like musket rifle. Like, I'm ever going to have a musket rifle? Like, what does that do? But I think there was like I think the idea, it made sense at the time, but I think it needs a revamp. We need a new way to, like, I'm not gonna have a 9-volt battery and steal wool in the wild. Can you imagine though if you were stuck in the wild and you only had one of those things. Oh, if only I could find some steel wool lying around here.
I went to a survival camp where they took us out in the middle of a frozen lake and only gave us things that we would have been technically able to take from a snowmobile, and we had to build a fire for one of our friends who was designated the one that had fallen in the water. So we had to build a fire out of just like random trinkets in like
Did you do it?
15 minutes. My team did it, yeah.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
But we had to crawl everywhere. I mean, I think the lake was thick enough, but like just for the immersion, you had to like bear crawl.
Oh, I see.
Because we were pretending that the lake was more thin than it actually was.
Right. That makes sense. You just reminded me of another thing at scout camp. So instead of bathrooms, they had like there was like the main chow hall that had an actual bathroom, but where everyone was camping, instead of bathrooms, they just had like outhouses.
Mhm.
But instead of like, it didn't flush, it was just a toilet, and then there was a giant hole in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And part of leaving scout camp is you had to clean the camp, and they were like, "Hey, someone's got to clean the latrine." And I was like, "Okay."
You're joking.
But what they had to do was like, you have to tie someone to a rope, lower them in, so they can use the hose and spray off the walls.
You're joking, right?
I'm not. I'm being dead serious. We tied the smallest guy there, which thankfully I was never been the smallest person in scouts. I was always been like I was close to the tallest. So
I've never heard of that.
Tiny kid. We had to tie a rope around his stomach, which I'm like, that alone is terrible. But we had to lower him in, and he just had a hose, and he just had to like spray it across. Why we couldn't just put our hand in and then use the hose? I don't know. It was a big hole though.
I have never heard of this.
It was so dumb. I'm like, what are we doing? It's poop. It's excrement. Like, why are we?
That's gonna give the kid like a disease or something.
And then we had to pull him out. But you imagine how bad that would hurt? It's just hanging there
What
by.
if you...
Like, exactly. We could have dropped him, but then it was like a combination of like, oh, how was your knots? You know, like the scoutmasters were watching and stuff, and they were like making sure everything was safe. But I'm like, we don't need to be doing this.
Doing safer. First off, just not doing that, but also like a harness or something, not just a random like square knot that's gonna choke this kid.
But it's just like, I'm like, it's just sometimes like I think about things in the youth, and I'm like, what are we actually learning here? Like, what did I learn there? I don't have like, I'm never going to be doing that again. It's not practical.
Whoa, hey, never say never. Because boy, do I have a next week activity for you.
You just bring the latrine back in. Surprise!
Surprise!
I don't know. I just think.
Was it just a porta potty, or was it like one of those built-in ones where it's a concrete hole?
It was a concrete hole.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a porta potty. That'd be even.
I mean,
stupider.
I guess you couldn't even fit in there, but.
Yeah, the porta potty would have been even worse. Like if it was just like, because you could have just, there's machines. Even now there's machines. I think sometimes it's weird with this generation. People call like our generation, the generation after us, and the one after that. It's like everyone calls them lazy. But I feel like it's just this weird thing where I feel like the previous generation feels like the new generation needs to have it as hard.
Which but we're already feeling the same way towards the next generation.
That's fair. With technology the way it is and stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna.
But like, I do think some people like I don't know if projecting is the right word, but projecting like, hey, we had to do this when we were kids. We had to like pick up a car. I don't know. That was a bad example. We had to go kill a bear. So like you have to do it now. But it's just like these weird things where it's just like, just because it was hard for you means that it has to be hard for the next generation. But I'm like, isn't that what we're like? We're trying to make life easier and better. And there's like, I mean, whether or not we're doing that is up for debate. But I'm just feeling like making something hard for hard's sake just seems kind of silly.
Like some tradition, I feel like it's because it has like deep cultural ties and brings like these emotions and it's like a force for good.
Yeah.
But also some traditions are just because that's how we do it and it's tough to be tough.
But this is another thing too with like Pioneer Trek. I never had to do it because I always had football camp with Pioneer Trek happening.
Maybe I in case that there's anyone not from Utah or really Utah,
I think
Arizona,
people are familiar
Idaho.
with the Pioneers though.
Yeah, just like a lot of pioneers at a certain amount of time came here.
Yeah.
And so in
Oregon Trail.
Yeah, like Oregon Trail, Mormon Trail.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like so a lot of communities will just dress up like pioneer people and push hand carts or have like ox wagons.
Yeah.
I assume Oregon does it too, right? I assume most states in the West do it.
Yeah, like it's just it's a common thing like where people go on Pioneer Trek where you like pretend to be pioneers and then you like they have the actual hand carts and the stuff that people would pull around. And there's like something called, well, they just make it, like you sleep outside, you have like a bucket that you carry with you. It's just like extremely hard. And you're wearing like really thick clothing that they would have worn back then.
Flour and water and that's all.
Yeah. And then like it just makes this extremely hard. And then they have this thing called like the woman pool, where there's like a steep hill, and like there's times like in the pioneers when like the women had to, the men would die and the women would have to continue the journey, and so they have the women's pool. And it's like this silent thing where all the guys stand around and watch the men or watch the women just pull the cards up, and then like some people aren't able to do it, so it becomes a very emotional experience. It's just like this hard thing, and they're like, yeah, all these pioneers, like it's just like this is how hard it was to get over. Do you know what percentage of pioneers died during the trail? It's like single digits, if lower than that. It's like a seriously low number of people that had a hard time getting over. Most people, it's a hard trek no matter what. Most people got past fine, and the people that died, it's because they left at the wrong time. And I'm like, wait a minute. So we did all this because like we're doing it the hard way because a very small percentage of people were dumb and did it the hard way. They're not dumb. I shouldn't say that, but there were some poor choices made that made them over there
for extenuating circumstances. But I get what you're saying. We're like, there's, in terms of statistics.
Yeah, I missed out a lot of details there. But
in terms of statistics, I would understand.
A very low number of people did it the way that we were reenacting.
I did see this quote of one of the pioneers that went to Utah. And he's like, if I had left for Utah the year before, that's when a huge group of people took a boat to California and then just like had a short walk over to Utah, relatively. And then the next year after he went, they built a train, and he could just ridden like for 2 days. He's like, if I had gone any other time, I would have missed all the fun. So
that's a way to glass half full.
In terms of Western, I don't want to say expansion, but I guess pioneer history.
Yeah.
There's a short period of time where like people were actually, it was as miserable as it's depicted. So.
I know there was a lot of historical things that prevented some people from going further, but it was to my point of like, man, we were really making this really hard. And you know what? I could be not cynical towards Pioneer Trek, but like a lot of people have an emotional connection because their family history, they have family ties with the Pioneer Trek. My family, we did not. We were not. None of my family members were on the Pioneer Trek, and so maybe that's why it was like it didn't hit quite as home for me. And maybe that's why maybe I'm biased in saying that.
But but you can still say it.
And I did say it.
I'm just proud though that all those girls and you were pulling them up.
No, I didn't. I never went to Pioneer Trek.
Oh right, okay. No, well, there goes my joke.
Yeah, I just think it's cool. The women's pool was so funny to me because it was just like, I don't know. It just seemed weird for everyone to watch. Just like, hey, let's watch them struggle.
Once I was in the front of the line when I did Pioneer Trek, so the first cart, and we were going through a ranch, and there's cows and bulls everywhere, and 2 bulls got into a bullfight right in front of me, and it was so cool.
But it's kind of scary though.
But like I was,
because if they're already angry, like
they were just interlocking horns, and like, and the dog had to grab me and pull me away because I was just like, wow, they're fighting.
I saw this is not close to the same thing.
Okay.
The first fight I've ever seen in my life was at a mall, and I was in first grade, and these guys started fighting in the mall, and my uncle grabbed me and my brother, and we're just like kept us back from watching. But I saw it.
The first fight I saw, I was in, and I lost. But then the second fight I saw was between 2 girls, and it was terrifying.
Dude, my first day of high school, this girl jumped another girl, made her bleed.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah, they were pulling hair. They like one of them slammed the head of the other into like a locker, and I was standing like what do I do?
Dude.
Terrifying.
Girl fights are crazy.
Yeah.
When they grab hair, it makes me cringe because of just how badly that would hurt. The first kind of fight I got in elementary school, there's a kid that this is so embarrassing. He was always kind of mean to me. He isn't quite a bully, but it's elementary school. But I always thought "shut up" was a bad word, and so I even your innocent elementary mind, you're like, yeah. Anyways, we're playing football. I dropped the ball. And he goes, "Catch the ball." I go up to him. I'm like, "Be quiet!" I shoved him, and then I went. He started choking me. So I was like, I never mess with that dude again. Talk about zero aura. Just like the lamest way I could have ever handled the situation.
So awesome.
I couldn't even say shut up. I decided to push him first, so I started it. And then he's like,
I love how you kept it at like 0 to 10, and then you just immediately like choke out.
It's like he might as well have just pulled a gun on me. Like that's how